But I take this opportunity to just, many of you might not be knowing about the entire journey, what we have been through from 2016 onwards till so far, and why we have decided to rebrand ourselves. That would be also questions in your mind, that after 6 years, why we have decided to rebrand ourselves. So, as many of you would be knowing that Fortum Charge and Drive, we have been doing this EV charging infrastructure business for more than 12 years in Norway, Finland, and Sweden. And so we got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, a lot of insights. And since we were present in India doing solar business, we thought that why not explore the Indian market, which is the world's largest car market, the fourth largest car market in the world. But at that point of time, we thought that what are the issues which will be challenging for doing the business in India. So we took almost 1.5 years to figure it out, that what are the two major challenges, and clearly one was dealing with electricity. Because unlike a Nordic market where the electricity is kind of free commodity, in India it's a regulated market. So we thought that if this business remains regulated, it means that it will be done only by the distribution company or their franchisee. And that probably would be the non-starter of this business itself, because business has to be spearheaded by the private investors, the private companies, and not entirely the government companies. So obviously we started engaging with the government in those initial 1-2 years, and bringing the experts from the European market, as well as also bringing or sharing with them what the other regulators in the world, like the US market and the Canadian market, they have done, how they have dealt with the electricity regulations for the EV charging. Fortunately, that the government listened to those experts, those views, and obviously it was supported by other stakeholders as well. And the government decided that this will be a de-licensed activities, and that was the beginning, I would say, of the revolution in the EV charging infrastructure business in India. But even prior to that, we decided that fine, the people are talking, because 2015 was the time when FAME was, the phase 1 of the FAME was announced, and that set the tone for the electrification of the road transport. So we thought that fine, while we are talking, we are engaging with the governments, let's demonstrate it on the ground, what exactly the charging means, setting up a charging infrastructure means. And that's where we took the first stage. So in 2017, and here we have a couple of charger manufacturer friends as well. 2017 is the time when we wanted to have the chargers brought from the Indian manufacturers, and we found there was none. So in order to do the pilot, we had to import the chargers, and we imported, and fortunately the company was present in India. It was Enstro. It's a Finnish company dealing with electrical cables here, but then they were also doing the manufacturing of the chargers in Finland. So we relied on them, having not found any chargers in India. And imagine at that point of time, in 2017, we had 22 kilowatt AC chargers brought in from Finland. And now you visualize, because now all of you are dealing with the EV on daily basis, some as a users, I can see Ashish, Sharad, Rakesh, Vivek. These chargers, 22 kilowatt, today even doesn't have a use case in the car, right? And at that point of time, Mahindra E-Verito was the largest car available in India, and it didn't have the type 2 socket on the car side. It was a 3.3 industrial socket, and we brought 22 kilowatt type 2 AC chargers, right? So we had a problem of how do we charge this car, right? So we had to get the adapter designed and manufactured. And I'm thankful to the master, Anurag Patil, who helped us in designing that adapter, and they supplied us 2 adapters, which finally we demonstrated that even this car with an industrial socket can be charged with type 2 chargers. You know what Tesla demonstrated, that with the adapter of CHAdeMO, they can do the Tesla charging with the CHAdeMO chargers, and now they are doing with CCS2. We demonstrated in India on this variant, from type 2 socket to the industrial socket on the Mahindra Verito. And this charger is functioning. This is operational in the Motibag, new Motibag, NBCC general pool accommodation. Then came 2018. So that was the time when we decided, because after the launch of this pilot, which we had done in the NBCC and the NTPC, during this we learned that what are the challenges, and after that in 2018 we decided that this is the time to go and again demonstrate to the Indian customers that setting up a public charging infrastructure is feasible and can be done. Again, I am thankful to Mahindra at that point of time, who decided that, you know, because they wanted to have a partnership with Uber, and Uber wanted to have Mahindra Verito on their platform, and they were looking for the charging partners. So at that point of time, we decided that we will do this. But the challenge was, now Exicom is a very preferred partner for us, and we value their cooperations which they have given to us. In 2018, when we decided to have a public charging, the challenge was that the government of India had come out with DC 001 notifications with a 15 kilowatt as a standard requirement. And at that point of time, the government agencies was coming out with their tenders for 15 kilowatt, and manufacturers were generally preparing themselves only for supplying those 15 kilowatt single gun, because that's the requirement of the government, and that was a bulk requirement from the government. So we thought that Mahindra Verito generally doesn't require 15 kilowatt power. So why do you require a 15 kilowatt charger? That's probably the overkill in terms of the investment as well. And we proposed to Exicom that, are you willing to experiment with us, and we can have a dual gun, 10 kilowatt each, means 20 kilowatt DC chargers, or DC 001. And I must appreciate Exicom's willingness to take risk, because they were not sure that beyond Fortum who would be taking those chargers, because the government was only accepting 15 kilowatt. But they showed those courage, and we installed these 20 kilowatt DC chargers, DC 001. And though we have Akshit from Aesthetic, at that point of time, Aesthetic was not in existence. All right. I think at that point of time, except for the government, there was no private charge point operator. And we decided that we will set up. And we set up the first charging infrastructure, public charging infrastructure in India. I can safely claim that one, you know, on 7th July 2018. But another challenge was, because all the charging stations is IT enabled. It doesn't require any manpower, because, you know, putting up a person for operating these chargers is not very, very productive, because it takes 1.5 hours or 2 hours for the chargers to charge a vehicle, and, you know, and probably you'll get one vehicle in a day. So it's not very productive, so it's unmanned charging stations. Now, how do we demonstrate that these chargings can be done without the requirement of any person being at the site to help you? And obviously, you know, as all of us are privileged, in India we are pampered, because when we go to the gasoline stations, we have the luxury of being seated inside the car, and somebody is doing the fueling for our car, right? So we thought that, how do we change this one? So the best way, we thought that it's better to demonstrate that these chargers can be operated not being at the site. So we organized a similar event in the ITC Kakatia in Hyderabad, and this charger was at the Rajbhavan Road. Those who are familiar with Hyderabad geography, they can relate it. Rajbhavan Road on IOCL. IOCL is another, I would say, our first location partner. You know, so we are very thankful to them. So they there on the petrol stations in the Rajbhavan Road, that's a 3 kilometer away from the ITC Kakatia. And there we invited, we thought that there should be witness also that we are capable of demonstrating that the remote charging can be done. Mr. J.S. Ranjan, who is the Secretary IT of, and the Principal Secretary also of the Government of Telangana, and he's an IT savvy bureaucrat. And we invited the Finland ambassador at that point of time. And we installed the optical fiber cable just for this event. So now you can imagine that, because we wanted uninterrupted communications. And so we connected a car. There was obviously a person who was connecting the connector there, but the charging was started, and it was showing live in ITC Kakatia, where more than 200 journalists was also present. And we, the Principal Secretary IT and Ambassador, they pressed the applications and they started the charging, and it was shown live. So that was the first time because before that, I mean, I remember when I was meeting the Joint Secretary Power, and at that point in time, NTPC, PGCIL was trying to push, a lot of charging deployment, and they were pushing that it should be a manned charging stations, right? And when we were saying that no, it can be unmanned because the manned is not commercially viable, there was a skepticism in their mind that how it is possible. But then when we demonstrated in Hyderabad on 7th July 2018, people believed this, that this is possible. Then we moved to 2019, and in 2019, I think we have another esteemed partner from MG, this garage. They were to launch their vehicles, the ZS, in 2019, towards the end of 2019, and they were looking for a charging partner, and a charging partner for a 50 kilowatt or 60 kilowatt charger, right? That's a fast charging. So we partnered with MG, and we set up 5 50 kilowatt chargers. At that point of time, both CCS and SEDEMO, because at that point of time we were not sure whether SEDEMO car would be coming or not, because standards were not clearly defined at that point of time. And we were expecting probably the Japanese car manufacturers like Nissan particularly was having the product available. They might introduce their car in India. But then again, this was again the first time when a public charging network, I would say the network of 50 kilowatt chargers was set up in India. So thanks to MG, who preferred, who chose, we as a partner, and we collaborated, and we demonstrated that this can be done. And this 5 city was done at that point of time. Now, then came the infamous COVID, and that put a slight break on the speed of our, but then in 2021, we entered into another important partnership. Rajiv is here from Cars on Rent, and so he has a plan. He has an ambitious plan of converting their entire current fleet to EV, and beyond that, putting up close to around 19,000 overall fleet in next 5 years. And obviously that requires the charging infrastructure to be there. So we partnered with the Cars on Rent, and that we would set up the charging infrastructure for them. So this is another important milestone. That shows the confidence the partners and the ecosystem is showing towards the adoption of the electric vehicle. Now, then came 2022, and so till 2021, what we were trying to do, basis our learning from the other part of the, the Nordic part, that we were initially doing 1 charger or 2 chargers at any point of time, because the objective was to spread in every nook and corner of a city, so that the consumer has a visibility. Because over a period of more than 100 years, we have acquired a habit or a behavior where we believe that if we go to buy a petrol and diesel car, we don't blink our eyes, that where do I refill it? Because our brain, our mind sense it that yes, we will find the petrol stations everywhere. And it has come up over the 100 years. But on the electric vehicle, unless you see the charging stations, even if you have the facility of charging at home, at your workplace, but what if you get stuck on the road? Where would you charge it? So visibility was very, very important, and that's why we were spreading it one charger or two charging points at each location. But subsequently, we decided that let's now move to the hub model, where you can have more than 10, 20 charging points. And that's where the first hub we created in Bangalore was a 50 charging points in a shopping mall. So an entire floor of Nexus, which was earlier called Forum, the Whitefield in the neighborhood, and the Shanti Niketan. So you have 50 charging points on one floor in neighborhood, and it has fitted with Type 2 and the CCS chargers as well. Now, when we come to, so far we were doing the charging infrastructure, we got a lot of learnings from the setting up, but then what about consumer? What are the pain points of the consumer? That was, because unless the consumer's pain points are addressed, they will not be forthcoming for adopting the electric vehicles beyond the early adopters like Vivek or Ashish or Sharad. They will not be able to move beyond that one. So when we interacted with them, we interacted with them and we found there are two issues with the consumer. One, they are downloading multiple apps for a different charge point operators. And after that, they also have a closed loop wallet. Almost every charge point operator, because we were doing the postpaid at that point of time, but most of the CPOs by that time were doing the closed loop wallet. So you have to put certain money in their wallet. And imagine that if you are traveling a long distance and there you find 10 CPOs, then 10 app and 10 wallet, and every wallet if you have 500 rupees, means 5,000 rupees is stuck. That's a closed loop wallet. You can't take out except at their charging station. And if you do transactions of 200 rupees, then still you have a 3,000 rupees stuck in their wallet. So that was the pain point which was shared by, that insight was given by the consumers. So then we thought that why can't we have something which is an open loop wallet? So if you can come out with a card which can be used at all other places, like you can book your movie tickets, you can pay the grocery, you can pay your hotel bills, and you can also do the charging using that card. So it is not necessary that charging has to be the primary functions, but that enables you, empowers you, give you a full control on your money, which you are not getting otherwise on the closed loop wallet. That's where we partnered with Pine Lab, a fintech, I would say one of the largest fintech in India, and RuPay card, which is a alternate platform of the Master and Visa, which is pure Indian platform. So on the RuPay platform, partnering with the Pine Lab, we did the co-branded prepaid card, which you can use anywhere, also at our charging stations. And imagine if every CPO starts using it, you don't have to rely on a different payment method. Your money will not get blocked, because in this card, the money belongs to you. It doesn't come to CPO like us. But another challenge which the consumer has indicated is that, we are downloading multiple apps. What can be done? So obviously, we took the cue from the Nordic market. There it was a mandate by the government that you can't refuse charging to any non-registered users. Even if anyone is driving on a one time, and they want to do the charging, legally you can't refuse them. So you have to find the way. So there is a SMS-based charging. We thought that what could be the best in India, and since UPI and the QR scanning is the most prevalent payment methods in India, so we thought that QR-based charging could be the best solution for that one to begin with. And that's where we started with the QR-based. How does it work? We have a video that will be run slightly later. But then, principally, this QR code is pasted on the charger on either side of the gun. You just go with a smartphone, you can scan the QR code, the gun gets automatically selected, you make a payment of your choice, and then the charging starts. And the moment charging stops, whatever amount is balance out of those prepaid amount, that gets instantly transferred to you. So that's the concept behind the charge through. Because you drive in, charge it, and you don't have to necessarily download any applications. So this will address their problem of not requiring to have a multiple apps. If all CPOs take this also as one of the payment methods, probably this will alleviate their lot of anxieties and the pains. Now, having said so, now we have decided that we will come to what, and these are just the glimpses of the few charging stations which we are doing. Just to give you, so far currently we are operating close to around 450 charging points across 16 cities. Primarily in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, NCR, we have close to around 100 plus. What we are targeting by the March 2024, we should be doubling this from 450 to we should be reaching to 1000. Primarily 70% should be the fast charging and 30% will be the type 2 AC charging. This I am talking of public charging network. I am not talking of captive, I am not talking of the work or home if we go there. And by 2030, we have an ambition that we should be having close to 1/3 of the market share of the charging points. That's the vision, that's the ambitions we are trying to have, and with the new brand, we will be starting this journey, or rather we will be continuing this journey with the renewed vigor, with the more emphasized focus, and ultimately, I would say our vision is that sometime or one day, every second EV user, and this I am talking of car, one day every second user will use our newly branded charging network with the same comfort and convenience you get at your home. That's our vision. That's we visualize that someday every second car user should use the charging stations of newly branded network with the same convenience and same ease or same comfort which you are getting at home. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Jha. I think I'd like to tell you that the dream will be coming true very, very soon. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Jha talked about Charge Through. Charge Through is a breakthrough platform which will save us from all the hassle and is going to make EV charging easier. Well, I'm sure you all want to know how Charge Through works and would like to share this video to explain how exactly it will make our lives easier. Can we please have the video?
Oops, it's time to charge my EV. How do I access this charger? Download app or use Charge Through? Charge Through seems interesting. Let me explore it. Simply scan the QR code. Click on the link displayed on your screen. Enter the estimated time, enter the email and phone number for OTP verification. Now make the payment through any online mode and simply enjoy an automatic and hassle-free charging. My car will be charging for an hour. What should I do for an hour? This is great. There's a market here. Let me just grab a quick bite there. I am so full. My car must have been as energized as I am by now. Hey, the charging is completed and I've already received the charging invoice on my email and phone. All charged through so quickly. Charge Through has made charging my EV so easy without installing any app on my phone. This is amazing. I received my balance amount back to my source account immediately.
Well, all the EV users sitting amongst us, I'm sure you're ready to use Charge Through. Are you? Yes? All right. Well, with this, here's the most exciting and the most awaited moment of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely ready. As Mr. Jha was talking about, we are changing into a new brand. We are rebranding ourselves to achieve all the great heights with all of you. And it is time to unveil the new brand identity. Are you ready to see it? Yes? Would you like to see how it looks? Yes? Alright, so here's a small video on screen to see how the new brand identity will look like. Can you please have it? Let's hear some noises, everyone! Well, yes, Fortum Charge Drive India is now Glida. Let's hear it for Glida, everyone. Isn't it an amazing name? So catching, so beautiful sounding, and yes, with this, well, here we have unveiled the new brand identity. I'm sure you want to see the new branding. Do you? Yes? To do the honors, may I please invite Mr. Sanjay Agarwal and Mr. Avdesh Jha on stage once again. Can you please welcome them with big applause? All right, and we want to unveil the new branding with each one of you sitting in the room. We'll do a small countdown from 5 to 1, and on 1 we'll unveil it. Ready, everyone? With me. Can you say it loud? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Presenting to you the new brand. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations, Glida team. Congratulations to all of you sitting in the room, and especially Mr. Jha would like to tell us.
Yeah, so I thought that having unveiled this, still we have not answered that why we have chosen Glida. So there are two purposes for this one. One is philosophical, one is a business, right? So let me share with you first the philosophical why we are rebranding ourselves. See, in our society, as a human being, when we grow, so during the initial years of our life, we are known by our parents' name. Generally, it's the parents, uska beta hai, uski beti hai, right? That's the name we are known by. Once we grow up and once we become adults and into professional life, we want to be known by our own name. Rather, parents would be like to be known by कि uska father hai, uski maa hai. This is precisely one of the reasons that initially we needed those parents' names, because the initial years you have a lot of pains, growing pains, and there you require hand holding. Now we have matured enough where we can look for, yearn for, desire for our identity. So that's the Glida is a new identity. Now that's more on the philosophical side, but that's very, very important. The second purpose was that what business we are doing. So when we were doing this, because this exercise is in the making for last 2 years, looking for this brand is for last 2 years. And during this exercise, when we, thanks to Chlorophyll, that's a brand advisory firm who helped us deciding that this is the name or this is the logo we should have. During that interactions with the consumers and the market, we gathered that two innovations the EV users have. One, the lack of charging infrastructure, and second is the lack of right information. And these two things were making them hesitant to come forward and adopt the EV. So we thought that fine, as brand, we are doing this work already because we have the knowledge which we have brought. Norway is the highest adopting country in the world on the EV. So we have the knowledge acquired from there. We have the expertise. We can set up the infrastructure. So then how do we convey that the brand conveys these two things, that these two concerns will get addressed? And that's where we're looking for the different words. And obviously, one reason was also that the Fortum Charge Drive India was quite a long name as far as brand is concerned, because then somebody was calling it Fortum, somebody was calling it Charge and Drive, somebody was calling it Charge and Drive India. So you had three different or multiple nicknames. So we wanted to have one, and which is small. और जनरली इंडिया में छोटा नाम जो पॉपुलर रहता है, जैसे मेरा नाम अवधेश है, लंबा है, लेकिन छोटा नाम विवेक, आशीष बहुत कॉमन है, दीपक बहुत कॉमन है, आप इजीली रिकॉल कर सकते हैं, राइट? मोनिका बहुत आसानी से आप रिकॉल कर सकते हैं, राजीव। तो तीन कैरेक्टर्स के जो वर्ड्स होते हैं जनरली बहुत इजीली रिकॉल होता है. सो वी वर लुकिंग फॉर सच वर्ड्स and also it should have a meaning to that one, right? So English में हमें नहीं मिला, हिंदी में हमने खोजा, कुछ difficult word मिले, हमने कहा फिर उसको बोलने में दिक्कत होगी. So then we look for and then we found a word in Swedish. So Glida is coming from the Swedish word, and it generally means that seamless, smooth movement, you can glide, like glide. So that's where we have got this name. So Glida means that we enable you to move freely without any hesitations. That's the purpose of this brand, and we don't call it identity, we call it Ideantity. This is again a trademark of chlorophyll, and we have got that right to use that Ideantity word. It's not the identity only, it's Ideantity. So we have idea and as well as identity, so that's Ideantity. So that's how we have come up with the Glida. So this is a Glida for you. Thank you.
Well, way to go for Glida. Congratulations once again. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this moment to thank each one of you sitting in the room to join us for this very celebratory day. Well, it is always going to be one most important, one most special day in our history as you have joined us. And since you are the most special people in our lives, this couldn't have been better. So thank you once again for joining us today. It is time to celebrate the evening. The celebrations are incomplete without the foods and the drinks. So the drinks are being served outside and the food will be placed in the lobby. I request everyone to please enjoy the evening ahead and have a good time. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you.